Hello, good morning everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Pedro. So I'll just get started so you don't delay the lunch too much. So my name is Pedro, and I was born in a small island in Portugal, so it's Madeira Island. And this will relate to you in the end of this speech, the talk, which is I was always told that it would be impossible for me to be a composer because I lived in Portugal, not even mentioning living in the middle of Atlantic. So I always thought I really don't care. It's what I want to do, so I'll try my best. So I learned for a lot of time music. And this is one of the things I learned, and maybe it can help you. In your music process. So I was speaking about math and music, and how, in my opinion, using certain progressions to go into the climax of a piece on your soundtrack can increase your chances to make the piece resonate with the audience. Because sometimes, at least for me, I don't know for you, but in everything in life, it's not so much about reaching the goal, but the path to reach the goal, right? You know, it's not so much reach the Everest, but probably I never went there. But anyone who wants to go there, it's more about the process of going there. You know, taking off the traveling and meeting people and going midway. Maybe the midway is more interesting than actual climax. So in music, what I like to, let me just go. So there's a pattern in which exists in nature, and this is an obvious one, which is the golden proportion. And this is the golden rectangle. How you do that? You do it by making a square, put the compass here, and just do it right, and just draw a circle down here. And there's it becomes an irrational number, but the approximate number is 1618. What this relates to music is, if this has been used for centuries in classical music, so mostly all the music that you know and that you love actually uses this without you knowing, like Beethoven, Mozart, and Debussy used it quite extensively. And so what it matters is that you start the track here, and you want to build, of course organically, not forced, to go to a climax over there and then relax. And what I will do now is show some examples. So in a classical work I did, which was Requiem in Inés de Castro. It's a big concert work that I wrote, and it had 7 movements. So since it was a Requiem, it involved the death of Inés de Castro, which was a nobles woman here in Portugal, very famous story, you should know it. So since it was imperfect, in that situation I created 2 series. One series which was like a compressed golden ratio, because why was that? Because I felt I wanted people to feel the stress of a death, and then when you reach the final movement, which is in Paradisum, it becomes to the perfect state, which is actually the golden proportion. So let's hear examples. So here are the sorry, it's in Portuguese, forgot to translate this one. So in the movement 1, it's 1.466, and then it goes progressively equally until the final one, which is 1618, which is the golden proportion. So in the first one, so it's the actual math that I used. It was not, so I knew that it had 76 total measures in the music. So I wanted it, according to the proportion I wanted the climax to be on measure almost 52. What happened in that section to be the climax is that Pedro, which was the husband of Inés de Castro, that went home and saw her wife dead, murdered by his father's order, which was the king of Portugal at the time. And he was devastated, and that's how the classical music starts. So this part is very emotional for me, because it's when the choir for the first time sings in unison, saying Exaudi, which is here asking God to hear Pedro's prayers. I think it's such a cool moment. So the video you'll see is in black and white, and when it becomes with color is when the golden proportion moment happens. Let's hear it. Can you please split it louder? Oops, sorry. Can you please make the audio come through here? Sorry, technical issue. Oops. So, yeah, so, okay. Continuing, once it's done, I don't know. Anyway, so, yeah, well, right now it will be great if you could hear it. But anyway, talking about the story of Inês da Casa, so basically, she was the unlawful wife of the son and heir to the throne. And she was from Galicia. So what happened if the offspring from her, so the sons, would become Spanish Portuguese. So if they would be crowned as king, Portugal and Spain will be together as one whole country, and that couldn't happen. So King Pedro, the father of King Pedro, what ordered was to kill the wife and all the kids, and problem solved. So quite a very devastating. While we wait for a technical thing to be solved, is it possible to be solved? Because I emailed it several times about it, so, and they said it would be, otherwise it would be just not very cool. No? Ah. Can you put the video now? Okay, cool. Can I? Oh, this is the one. Okay, it's just a second. Okay, so let's hear. So here's the choir. Okay. Is this working? Yeah. Okay. So, and that was the first golden proportion. Then, on the third movement, so this is quite like a sanctus, so we could say glory in excelsis. So, and I want it to happen precisely in the. So the total measures was 40 measures, so I wanted the proportion happen exactly as the math says in the 26th measure. So as you see, here's the measure 25, 26.38. That's here that starts the proportion. And this is the movement I'll show you a bit more of the music because it's very short, so you can hear the whole climax between the start and the end.
Amen.
this is how I managed. The music then goes on a little bit more until it goes off, but the proportion happened in this moment. So, and it's curious to see how the conductor really feels the moment naturally, not artificially. So, okay, the final one is just a short example, which is in Paradisum. This is actually in a perfect state. So the music is very light, and it was a very special concert for me. And I placed on measure 29, which is actually the highest note ever in the whole Requiem. So in 45 minutes, this is the highest note that is ever played. And it's played by a solo violin, playing the main theme of this Requiem. So this was not a big climax. So it's just to tell you that you don't need to make climaxes that are like huge fortissimo. It can be a special detail. It can be something that is deeply important that people feel in their heart. That's the most important. And I think people do feel. I'm never sure if this is right or wrong, but I've always done it, and I think it has helped me. Okay, so this is another, just to show you, this is the climax of a whole piece, a new piece of Te Deum. And see the expression from the conductor. So that's what happens when you have a great preparation, and when you reach that moment, you can see in the faces of everyone that you've reached that golden moment perfectly. And I think that's what makes you feel like, oh, thank God we're here. I love this moment. And it's not because the moment is good, because there's nothing special. As you hear, if you hear just this in isolation, there's nothing special. But the road to reach that was almost 7 minutes of music. So after 7 minutes, getting to that point is like, wow, cool stuff. Okay, so why music is needed, this is something I wanted to show you about. And I will show you a commercial that I did without music. And this was for eFootball, so Portuguese Federation. There's no sound for some reason.
O golo da Grécia sagra-se assim, campeão da Europa. Vejamos. Figo, que grande golo!
Thing for me to do because. When I was hired for this, they've been working this for a long time, and they were having hard time to get music right from other people, and they got me in and told me this is the movie and we want music for this. And it was very, for me, it was kind of complicated because there was the mom saying you should not play games, and there was this moment of Cristiano Ronaldo making the goal, and then in the end there were some players. So the first approach that I did for this one was I wanted to make the players feel like heroes, the players themselves, not Cristiano Ronaldo. This first music was rejected, but still I wanted to show you to you. If you can place it a bit louder.
Bora, rápido.
O golo da Grécia sagra-se assim, campeão da Europa. Vejamos. Figo, que grande golo!
Era só um jogo e estás aí há horas.
Para a direita, para a esquerda.
Então, João, queres juntar-te à minha equipa?
Cristiano!
this one was rejected because they thought, nah, this is not, it's not what they want. They want to reinforce the game, not the players. So this is the second, which was approved, and this commercial just won an award here in Portugal for best direction. And hopefully music helped to gain the award.
Lembras-te quando te mandavam sempre para a baliza? Tu pensavas, ok, é só um jogo. E quando chegavas a casa e te vingavas, também era só um jogo.
Golo da Grécia, sagra-se assim, campeão da Europa.
Isto também foi só um jogo. Lembras-te quando reescrevias a história e cumprias o sonho de uma nação? Ou quando demoravas a ir para a mesa e a tua mãe dizia:
Era só um jogo e estás aí há horas.
e quando as coisas corriam mal, lembras-te de dizer: não fiques assim, é só um jogo. Quando os teus heróis de repente eram teus colegas de equipa.
Então, João, queres juntar-te à minha equipa?
Sim, mas era só um jogo. Lembras-te quando fazias do teu clube bicampeão nacional? Ou quando milhares de fãs vibravam e celebravam contigo? Também era só um jogo. Lembras-te quando voltaste a deixar o nome de Portugal na história do futebol? Lembras-te? Era só um jogo. Mas tu sabes que nunca foi, nem nunca será só um jogo.
Okay, so that's the final result, which was accepted. And this video became the most shared video from the Portuguese Federation, so that's cool. So I also want to share it with you. Because of technical troubles, we are delayed 3 minutes, so please hang on with that. This was a video that I got around 4 weeks ago, so 2 weeks before CitizenCon, so now related to games. And it was so Chris Roberts, the game director for Star Citizen, wanted to showcase the new Star Engine capabilities, which is awesome. They are awesome. And it was like this. There was no audio. And he just told me, I wanted you to make it sound great. So I'm not going to explain this, but all those things that I told you, the golden proportions, everything was taken into account by me. So not only visuals, there's a compromise between the visuals and the actual proportions, but I tried to get to a climax. And the results were, I think, really good. Based on what fans emailed me afterwards and what the actual team emailed me as well. And so this is, it's just boring without music, I think. Can you please pode estar mais alto? was a 24 minutes trailer, sorry. So now the question is, before I finish, because I know it's a bit late, is how do you take all this and create an award-winning track? first thing I can tell you as an advice is first, I think you should build perfection. And just as a token of your, to showcase, this is the final version of the main theme for chorus that won last year's Hollywood Music and Media Awards. So, and it was up against really awesome people that I love, like God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, and Assassin's Creed, Dawn of Ragnarok, which were really great professionals that I admire. And the game was not so big, so I really never thought this could ever happen. So why was that? Because the theme actually was it was already kind of approved, that version probably, 30 or something, but still, I knew there was a long way to go until it was as I wanted. So really, always strive for perfection, because I think that's the only way we can, stand out a little bit. And in this example, I also tried to, because I started as a composer on Amiga, on trackers, so I tried to remake a tracker, but in a modern way. So as you probably remember, in Amiga you only had 4 tracks, so you had to do everything in 4 tracks. So channel 1 was like the Moog 1 bass, channel 2 was for digital and wavetable synthesizers. Probably if everyone here is composer, they probably recognize many of these synthesizers that I use. So they're pretty cool. And of course the orchestra, which was recorded live. It was layered in 2 layers because it was like a modern production. So it had like this part and the other mixed together. And then the 4th layer was the percussion, which will you hear in a second. And the percussion had a mix of actual normal percussion with design percussion. There was here someone for Kim Forrest, I don't know if he is here, but also used some of the hits from him. So awesome. Arseny, I don't know if he's here, no, he's not, but we spoke to you. And this is the final result with Younger Bold singing. Since time is short, I had to cut it. So the final part I want to say, which is the final slide, is Dare to Dream. When I say Dare to Dream, because this was the motto from Chris Roberts when he did Star Citizen, and he said that what I learned is that when you have a dream, you should not at all, in my opinion, compromise just because someone tells you it's impossible. Because you only have one life. I don't know if you remember how I started as composer. One of the games I loved playing the most was Wing Commander when I was 10 years old with my father. My father passed away around my age. And it was really profound to me that 33 years later, after I did that trailer, using those golden proportions, and I think, well, I liked what he did. And this happened. Can you please put it louder?
Traveled during that whole sequence.
And it was a very
hats off to the engine team and supported by our cinematic artists that put it together. I also need to call out Pedro Camacho's music, which is always beautiful and sets the scene so well.
Thank you so much. And we're very emotional to see this because it's been a struggle.
Round of applause. Thank you, Pedro.